The living prison. The convergence chamber fell silent, except for the sound of Edrick's breathing, ragged, strained, but unmistakably human. Rose's sword remained raised, her hands shaking with the weight of the choice she hadn't had to make. Tears still streamed down her face, cutting tracks through the dust and blood that covered them all. Edrick? Her voice cracked on his name. He stood at the chamber's center, the sealing blade still gripped in both hands, its silver light pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. The green glow that had erupted from his chest during the merger had faded to a dim luminescence beneath his armor, visible only in the shadows cast by the unstable ley lines. I'm here. The words came out rough, strained. I'm still here. But even as he spoke, he felt the Devourer raging inside him, a vast, ancient consciousness that had once commanded armies of corruption, now trapped within the confines of human flesh and will. It screamed against its prison, testing every corner of his mind, searching for weaknesses, for cracks in the walls he'd built around it. You cannot hold me forever, little king. The voice wasn't a whisper anymore. It was a roar that only he could hear, a constant pressure against his thoughts. How long? Shamaz stepped forward, his staff still glowing with residual power from the battle. His weathered face was grave, his sharp eyes studying Edrick with the clinical assessment of a healer who'd seen too many lost causes. How long can you maintain this? Edrick met his gaze and saw the question beneath the question. How long until you break? I don't know. Honesty was all he had left to give them. Hours, days, maybe longer. He drew a shuddering breath. It's fighting, constantly. It knows every thought I have before I finish forming it. Every fear, every doubt, every moment of weakness. Yes, the Devourer purred inside him. I know you intimately now, Edrick of Stormmoor. I know that you fear failing your people more than you fear death. I know that you love the woman with the sword, though you've never spoken the words. I know that you're already wondering if this was a mistake. Edrick's jaw clenched. The entity was right. He could feel it mapping his consciousness, learning the pathways of his mind with terrifying speed. But he could also feel something else. The sealing blade's power flowing through him, reinforcing the prison he'd made of himself. The weapon that had been forged from the Devourer's own essence now served as the bars of its cage. The blade, Illyria said, moving closer with her daggers still drawn. Her dark eyes were wide with a mixture of fear and fascination. You merged with it. I saw the light. It went into you along with the fragments. It's part of me now. Edrick looked down at the weapon in his hands. The silver glow had dimmed, but not extinguished. He could feel it thrumming in his veins, a counterpoint to the Devourer's fury. Or I'm part of it. I'm not sure there's a difference anymore. Rose finally lowered her sword, though her hand remained on the hilt. She crossed the distance between them in 3 strides, searching his face with desperate intensity. Your eyes, she whispered. They're still yours. Not green. Not like the cultists. Not yet. He met her gaze, willing her to see the truth in his words. But Rose, if that changes, I know. Her voice was steel wrapped in sorrow. I know what I promised. A groan from across the chamber broke the moment. The lead cultist, the woman who had orchestrated the ritual, was stirring from where she'd collapsed when the merger went wrong. Her eyes snapped open, wide with horror as she took in the scene. No, she breathed. No, this isn't. You weren't supposed to. Your god is imprisoned. Edrick's voice came out colder than he intended, carrying an edge that made even his companions flinch. Was that his anger, or the Devourer's? He could no longer tell where one ended and the other began. Tell your cult that the fragments are reunited, but they serve a new master now. The woman's face contorted with rage and despair. You don't understand what you've done. The Devourer cannot be contained in flesh. You'll break, and when you do, it will be free with full knowledge of this world, full access to everything you know. Then I won't break. The words were simple, absolute. I am Edrick of Stormmoor, last of Aldrich's line. My ancestor took the heart of this creature into himself 3,000 years ago, and I've carried it my entire life. If he could bear that burden for decades, I can bear this one. Brave words, the Devourer mocked. But Aldrich died screaming. Did you know that? I remember. I was there, trapped in his dying heart, feeling every moment of his agony as the fragment ate him from within. You carry his blood, little king, but not his strength. Edrick's hands tightened on the sealing blade until his knuckles went white. The cultist saw something in his face that made her recoil. "Kill me," she whispered. "Please, I failed my god. I don't want to live in a world where it's enslaved." "No." Shamaz stepped forward, his staff tapping against the stone floor. "You'll live. You'll return to your cult and tell them what happened here. Tell them the Devourer walks, but in chains. Tell them their rituals are finished." The woman's laugh was broken, hysterical. "You think this ends the cult? There are hundreds of us, thousands. We've waited 3 millennia for this moment, and you've stolen it from us." Her eyes fixed on Edrick with burning hatred. "They'll come for you. They'll break you. They'll free our god, even if it means tearing you apart piece by piece. Let them try." Alluria's voice was quiet but deadly. "They'll have to go through us first." Rose moved to stand beside Edrick, her presence a solid anchor in the chaos of his thoughts. "We should go. This chamber isn't stable, and we need to get back to Castle Stormmore. Captain Torvin needs to know what happened here." Edrick nodded, but even that simple movement felt strange now. His body responded to his will, but he could feel the Devourer trying to influence every motion, every breath. It was like wrestling with his own shadow. They bound the cultist and left her for the other survivors to find. As they climbed back through old Ravenhold's catacombs, Edrick felt the Devourer's presence growing more insistent with each step away from the convergence chamber. The creature had been dormant for 3,000 years, patient beyond human comprehension. Now it was awake, aware, and trapped in a cage that walked and thought and felt. "You're making a mistake," it whispered. "Every step you take, every decision you make, you do with my voice in your mind. How long before you can't tell which thoughts are yours and which are mine?" "Forever, if I have to," Edrick muttered. Rose glanced at him sharply. "What?" "Nothing." He forced a smile that felt like a grimace. "Just talking to myself." But it wasn't nothing, and they both knew it. The Devourer's laughter echoed through his consciousness, a sound like breaking glass and distant screams. They emerged from the catacombs into the pre-dawn darkness. Old Ravenhold's courtyard was littered with the bodies of cultists who had died when the ritual failed, or succeeded, depending on perspective. The corruption that had saturated the fortress was already beginning to recede, the green light fading from the stones as the fragment's power consolidated within Edrick. "The horses are where we left them." Alluria returned from scouting the perimeter. "No signs of pursuit. The cultists who survived are scattered." Shamaz was studying Edrick with increasing concern. "You're pale. When did you last eat?" "I'm not hungry." The words were true, but wrong. His body should have been starving after the ordeal, but he felt nothing. No hunger, no thirst, barely any fatigue despite the battle. "The blade is sustaining me, or the fragments are. I'm not sure." "Both," the Devourer supplied helpfully. "Your mortal needs are beneath us now. We are beyond such weaknesses." "That's not good." Shamaz's frown deepened. "Your body still has limits, even if you can't feel them. You need to eat, rest, maintain your strength. The fragment, the Devourer, it's trying to disconnect you from your humanity." Edrick wanted to argue, but the healer was right. He could feel it happening. A gradual numbing of sensation, a distance growing between his consciousness and his flesh. The Devourer was trying to make him forget he was human, to blur the lines between king and monster until there was no difference. "We ride for Castle Stormmore." Rose's voice carried the weight of command. "Edrick needs to be somewhere defensible, somewhere we can protect him if—" She stopped, unable to finish the thought. "If I lose control," Edrick completed for her. "Say it, Rose. We all need to be honest about what might happen." She met his eyes, and he saw the fear there, the love, the terrible resolve. "If you lose control, we'll stop you, whatever it takes." "She's planning how to kill you," the Devourer observed. "Measuring angles, calculating strikes. She knows your defenses, knows where you're weakest. She could do it, you know. If you let your guard down for even a moment, she could put that sword through your heart before you could stop her." "I know." Edrick spoke to both Rose and the voice in his mind. "I'm counting on it." They mounted their horses, the Urith steeds that had carried them through corrupted lands, and began the long ride south. Dawn broke as they left old Ravenhold behind, painting the sky in shades of red and gold that seemed obscene against the twisted landscape. Edrick rode in silence, fighting a war that no one else could see. Every moment was a battle of wills, a constant struggle to maintain the prison he'd made of himself. The Devourer tested him relentlessly, probing for weaknesses, offering bargains, threatening consequences. "You could end this suffering," it whispered. "Just let go. Let me take control for an hour, just long enough to rest. You're so tired, little king, so very tired." He was tired, exhausted beyond measure, though his body showed no signs of it. The mental strain of containing the Devourer was unlike anything he'd experienced. It was like holding a door shut against a hurricane, every second requiring absolute focus and unwavering will. "Edrick," Shamaz had moved his horse alongside. "Talk to me. Don't retreat into your own mind. That's where it's strongest." "It's everywhere." The words came out hollow. "In every thought, every memory. It knows everything about me now, Shamaz. Everything." "Then tell me something it doesn't know." The old healer's voice was gentle but firm. "Tell me something you've never told anyone. Give me a secret that's yours alone." Edric's first instinct was to refuse, but he understood what Shamaz was doing, creating a space in his mind that was his and his alone, a final refuge the Devourer couldn't touch. "When I was 16, he said slowly, "the night after I pulled Rose from Kirkwall's ruins, I cried. Not because of the horror we'd seen, but because I was terrified I wouldn't be strong enough to protect her, that I'd fail her the way I'd failed everyone else who died that day." "Weakness," the Devourer hissed. "This is what you build your defenses on? Fear and sentiment?" But Edrick felt something shift, a small space opening in his consciousness, a corner the Devourer couldn't quite reach. Shamaz was right. His humanity, his memories, his connections to others, these were weapons the ancient evil couldn't wield. "Tell me more," Shamaz urged. "Tell me about Rose, about the years you trained together, about the moments that made you who you are." So Edrick talked. He spoke of long afternoons in the training yard, of Rose's determination to master every weapon, of her terrible singing voice and her fierce loyalty. He talked about Alluria's arrival at court, about Shamaz's wisdom and dry humor. He talked about his people, the kingdom he'd sworn to protect, the weight of the crown and the comfort of friendship. With every word, he felt the prison strengthen. The Devourer raged and threatened, but it couldn't touch these memories. Couldn't corrupt what made Edrick who he was. "You think this will save you?" The ancient evil's voice was sharp with fury. "I have eternity, little king. You have days, perhaps weeks before your will breaks. And when it does, I will use everything you love against you. Every memory you cherish will become a weapon in my hands. Then I'll fight you for eternity." Edrick's voice was steady now, stronger. "You chose the wrong prison, Devourer. You thought a human vessel would be weak, easy to break. But humanity isn't weakness. It's strength you can never understand." The Devourer's response was a wordless scream of rage that only Edrick could hear. They rode through the morning, putting distance between themselves and old Ravenhold. The landscape gradually shifted from corrupted wasteland to merely twisted forest. The Urith horses moved with supernatural endurance, sensing their riders' urgency. It was mid-afternoon when Alluria spotted the riders approaching from the south. 20 mounted soldiers, she reported. Stormmoor colors, Torvin's men. Rose's hand moved to her sword hilt. Could be a rescue party, or they could be coming to investigate why we haven't reported back. As the soldiers drew closer, Edrick recognized Captain Torvin himself at their head, his weathered face grim with concern. The captain reined in his horse 10 feet away, his eyes scanning the group with military precision. "Your Majesty." Torvin's voice was carefully neutral. "We received reports from survivors. They said the ritual at Old Ravenhold had failed, or succeeded. The accounts were confused." Edrick met the captain's gaze steadily, knowing what the man was looking for. Signs of corruption, of possession, of the monster the king might have become. "The ritual was stopped, Captain. The fragments have been contained." "Contained where?" Torvin's hand rested on his sword hilt, and Edrick saw the other soldiers shifting in their saddles, ready to act on their captain's command. "In me." The admission fell like a stone into still water. "I merged with all 5 fragments while wielding the sealing blade. The Devourer is imprisoned within me now." The soldiers' reaction was immediate. Weapons drawn, horses backing away, fear and horror written across every face. Only Torvin remained still, his expression unreadable. "Stand down." The captain's command was absolute. His men hesitated, then slowly lowered their weapons. Torvin dismounted and approached Edrick on foot, stopping just out of sword range. "Show me your eyes." Edrick removed his helm and met Torvin's gaze directly. The captain studied him for a long moment, searching for the telltale green fire of corruption. "They're clear," Torvin finally said. "But for how long?" "I don't know." Edrick wouldn't lie to the man who'd served his family for 20 years. "The Devourer is fighting constantly. Every moment is a battle. But I'm winning, Captain. I'm still in control. For now." Torvin's voice was heavy with the weight of command. "And when you're not? What happens when the king becomes the monster? Then you do what must be done." Edric's voice didn't waver. "You protect the kingdom, even from me." Torvin was silent for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. "Then we ride for Castle Stormmoor. Whatever time we have, we'll use it to prepare. For victory or for the alternative." They rode south together, a king who carried an ancient evil within him and the soldiers sworn to protect him or destroy him if necessary. Edrick felt the weight of their fear, their uncertainty, their desperate hope that he could maintain control. "They're already planning your death," the Devourer whispered. "Every one of them is calculating how to kill you when you fall. Is this the loyalty you fought for? Is this the kingdom you tried to save?" "Yes," Edrick said quietly. "This is exactly what I fought for. A kingdom where people do what's necessary, no matter how hard. Where duty comes before comfort. Where love means being willing to make the impossible choice." The Devourer had no response to that. As Castle Stormmoor came into view on the horizon, Edrick felt something shift inside him. Not the Devourer's presence, but his own resolve hardening into something unbreakable. He had become a living prison for an ancient evil, a cage that walked and thought and felt. The battle for his soul would be long and terrible, but he would fight it. For his kingdom, for his friends, for every life that depended on him maintaining control. And somewhere deep in the prison of flesh and will, the Devourer screamed its fury to the void.
Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures. Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures.